Welcome to episode 7 of Shadow Stories. Today I have IMG Academies and soon-to-be University of Iowa's track star, Austin Kresley. Austin, how are you, my man?
I'm doing good, my man. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I got an opportunity to sit down with you and talk about some tracks, something, I don't have a lot of cup of tea, I could say.
It's all good. A lot of people don't. It's it's a sport that no one really cares about, but it's all good.
Well, let's jump right into this. So, when and why did you decide to participate in track?
So this is a very funny story. So all my life, as you know, I've played football all my life, ever since I was 5 years old. I've always had aspirations of playing D1 football. It's kind of always been my goal to play football. But as time went on and I got to high school, I'm like, I need something in the spring to keep me in shape. So I thought track would be a perfect opportunity to do so. And as I never thought I was going to do it all 4 years. The first year is kind of just experimental, like, okay, let's see if I enjoy it, and we'll just go from there. And I ended up really loving it, and that's kind of how the passion grew from there.
The most nerve-wracking thing when it came to starting off track in high school?
The most nerve-wracking thing I would definitely say is just, obviously I didn't know anything about the sport. I was completely lost. So I'd just say, me and the new people, the coaches, obviously it was very nerve-wracking at Northgate. And then just how good would I be at this sport necessarily? I always knew I was fast, but I always knew that track speed and football speed were always a different type of thing. So I was just really nerve-wracking to see if my speed for football would translate onto the track. So that was kind of the most nerve-wracking thing for me.
What are some of the differences when you say football speed compared to track speed?
I mean, you always hear the comparisons about Tyreek Hill and Usain Bolt. There's always, I feel when it comes to track and field compared to football or other these sports, track and field is just a different animal. A lot of people are faster. They may not be as quick and explosive like you see on the football field, but if you race them one-on-one, you're not going to catch them. That's just how track is to football. A lot of people just think, hey, I run a 4.4 in the 40. I could run a really fast 100. It's not how it is. I run a 4.5 in the 40, but I run a 10.6 in the 100. So it's a different type of thing that people don't always get aware from, I would say.
Well, you began your high school career with a 12.3 in the 100 and nearly a 25 in the 200. You placed fairly well, but how did it feel competing and succeeding even early on?
It was, I wouldn't say necessarily succeeding very on. I mean, the captain on the team at the time at Northgate was Eugene, who really pushed me and really, he was probably the big reason why I continued to run track. He really motivated me and kept going to keep doing what I had to do. And he was kind of a motivation to win because he always beat me every time he raced, every time he stepped on the line. He would always beat me. Always on my mind was I'm going to beat this guy eventually throughout my freshman year. So that was kind of my motivation the whole time. And that's kind of my last race, his last race of his senior year, I finally beat him. So that was kind of my motivation the whole year. I leaned him out the line, and that was the best feeling of my life still to this day.
What did you enjoy about your freshman campaign, and how are you planning to get better for sophomore year?
So my favorite part about freshman year was just the whole experience of track had to offer. It was fun. Even though the training aspect is horrible, it sucks running just to run. But what kept me motivated was definitely just seeing how much I had to bring to the sport. I ran 11.5 my freshman year at the end. I just knew there was more left. And just because all the great people I've met that I'm still friends to this day, definitely at Northgate, a lot of those guys I'm still in touch with, a lot of those guys I'm really close to. So those guys definitely kept me going towards this line of track.
What did the coaches make you do in order to improve your times?
Not to throw shade or anything, but I didn't really have the best coaching at Northgate, I would say. We did have a lot of coaching changes throughout the track that no one really seems to notice. We've gone through 3 or 4 head coaches in the past 3 seasons. So I was also weight training, doing stuff like that to help me get bigger and stronger. But I wasn't really thinking track so seriously during that time, my freshman year. I was just kind of thinking of just doing football again, seeing how this is, and moving forward from that. So I basically just got bigger in the weight room doing stuff for football. That's what I would say I did to get better at track during that time.
Within a year, you shaved off a second on your 100 and multiple seconds in your 200. What led to the success in that?
Definitely. I mean, I hit a growth spurt for sure. I gained over 12 pounds of muscle within a year. But I also, my sophomore year, I was much more motivated, much more like serious about track. And I always did things extra. If it was after practice, do another 100, do another 200, do more push-ups, sit-ups after practice. Always just doing extra little things that other people wouldn't necessarily do. Definitely, since I didn't have coaching at the time, I was trying to figure things out by myself, either trying to figure out how to do a better block start, technique, how to run better. So I was just always Googling, YouTubing how to do certain things correctly so it can translate onto the track.
Now, at this time, you still played football, and then, like you said, you're now doing track in the spring. However, you decided to back off of football and only do track. What made you give up your desires for football?
Um, it's a long story, but basically I can say so during my sophomore year, my JV year, um, I I didn't really enjoy the sport too much. I kind of started losing interest in the sport. The guys I was around, I didn't really feel like I wasn't vibing with them. It wasn't clicking how a brotherhood really should spawn. And then when I got moved up to varsity, when I played with you guys, it was probably the funnest time I ever had in my life playing football. It really rejuvenated the sport for me. I had a lot of fun. It was one of the best experiences I had in my life. But then when I realized it at the end of the day, I'm like, this isn't going to last forever. These guys, most of the team is seniors. As you know, you just interviewed Samisi. He was a senior. Everyone was leaving. And I was looking back down towards the team we had. I'm like, I don't really enjoy playing with these guys. And I kind of see myself doing track, but obviously too, like that was my sophomore year. I didn't blow up yet in track. So I was like, I need some more proof so I can do this full time. And once I ran my first 10 in the 100, I knew for sure, like, okay, I see where God's putting me in this direction to do track full time and just quit football. And I always say everything happens for a reason. And even though football didn't work out for me, I still love the sport. I always watch football games. I do everything about football. But I mean, hey, track is what's going to pay for me education wise. I knew it was the right thing forward. I know a lot of people disagreed at that at the time, but I know I had to do what's best for me at the long run. And it worked out.
Now, this is a little off track here. If Iowa or even an NFL team ever called and said, "Hey, we want a fast guy like you," would you ever think about picking football back up?
It's funny that you say that because during my recruiting process, I did get some offers to play football to come back for the Division 2, Division 3 level. I was thinking about it. I'm like, hey, maybe I can give this football thing a shot. Um, at IMG, definitely, like, I was like, let me try running some routes. I just don't have it anymore. I'll be completely honest. I can't catch a ball to save my life. I can't route run anymore. So I'm like, maybe just a punt returner, kick returner, but even still, I am concerned about injuries just because those are the two dangerous positions in the NFL, kick return, punt returner. But I mean, every now and then I always like fantasize about, oh, what if I just kept playing football? But I definitely would have thought I would get injured or something, I tear a knee out or something. I definitely didn't have the frame of a football player, and I knew that.
In your junior year, you ran a 10.65 in the 100 and even placed top 20 in the state. What were your emotions when you were reaching the top of the podium almost?
Okay, so my junior year was a very up and down roller coaster, very emotional times during definitely my recruiting and just everything in general. So the beginning of my junior year, not a lot of people know that I was dealing with a really bad sickness that kind of ruined my entire junior year. So after my sophomore year, I run 10.6 PR, looking like I'm about to take over the state of California my junior year. My aspirations and goals that season were to break the school record, run 10.4 easily, and go under 22 easily in the 200. I was like, okay, this is gonna happen. I put in a lot of work during the off season. Definitely since I quit football, I had a lot more time to run more mileage, put on a good foundation going on to the season. I gained a lot more weight. I was 135. I was 146 going into next season. I gained over 11 pounds of weight. I was ready for the season. And then three weeks in, I run 10.7. And right out of nowhere, I catch the flu. I'm like, okay, I've ran with the flu before. So I just kept running on it and it kept getting worse. So I'm like, this can't just be the flu. Went to the doctors. They said it's just the flu, just taking a little bit longer than usual. Like, this can't be it. Then I realized my time just kept getting worse and worse. I went from running 10.7 to 11.2, and then 11.3, 11.6 even. So I went to the doctors. I went to the ER actually because I literally was just ran a meet, felt fine, got home. My fever just rampant to like 104. So I went to the hospital. They said they took blood tests and found that I had mono in my system. And then on top of that, they took X-rays in my lung and said I had walking pneumonia. So I literally had the flu, walking pneumonia, and mono all at once. Completely derailed my season. They even said my spleen was getting really swollen and large just from all the running I was doing. It was pounding on my system. So I was just like, okay, I told my coaches at the time I need at least a month to rest so this doesn't happen again. Because I would feel good because mono is a very weird disease. It would come and then it would go. So you feel just fine. Like, oh, I'm ready. You run again and you get sick right away. You rebound so quick. So I'm like, okay, give me a month. Took 1 month off, lost a bunch of weight. I think I was like 125 pounds at that point. I basically lost everything I had going into districts. And I thought for sure I wasn't going to make state. My last race was my senior day technically because I already knew I was going to IMG at that point. I ran 11.6. So I'm like, I literally got worse back to my freshman year. There's no way I'm making state. It's over. I go into districts and I go into league, and I run 11.1, which was first in league, but put me 6th in NCS. So when I got to NCS, I'm like, if I drop out a spot, if I go any lower than 6, I'm out because the top 6 move on to NCS meet a champions. So I was really just stressed out in my mind. My coaches just said, all right, we've been training you a lot, trying to get you back to where you were, but it's obviously not working. It's taxing your body. So Coach Mike, who I still talk to this day, probably my best mentor and coach I've had, said, we're just going to lay off. I know you're talented. Just let everything work together. And it worked. That week I went to 10.65 again. But then after that, my body was kind of done. I was tired throughout the year, definitely with mono and all that. Went to NCS Meet of Champions, ran 10.8, 10.84, got into state barely. But at that point, I was just like, I did everything I wanted to do this season, and I made it. So my emotions were running high. I did cry because I just knew like there was no way I was making it 4 weeks ago, and now here I am. I made it to state. Who cares that I didn't win the state or come close? The fact that I made it here and placed pretty well, I was happy with everything that happened. So, yeah.
Well, you jumped over to senior year to the IMG Academy. How did you end up deciding to go cross country to finish your high school career over there?
It was a very easy decision. I know a lot of people did not like me for leaving Northgate to go to IMG, but it was a very easy decision. It wasn't something I had to think about for a long term. It was really just, okay, I'm going to go. But my thought process behind it was, okay, all my friends were older than me my freshman year for track, and all of them are graduating. My junior year, my closest friend, Matt, he was about to graduate as well. So I'm like, there's really nothing holding me back. I didn't have many friends at Northgate to begin with, and all of them are leaving anyway. So I'm like, okay, let's look at my real friends back home in Brentwood, where I'm originally from. All of them are leaving off to college too. They're a year older than me. So I'm like, it's a perfect opportunity just for me to go get some college experience, go get the best training I possibly can. Plus, I didn't have any offers at that point. So I'm like, yeah, I need to do this for my career and to get better in general. So it was really just a no-brainer decision to go cross country and run.
What was the best part about your short stint at IMG, and what was the toughest part about leaving Northgate?
The best part about IMG, I would say, is the fact that you meet so many different people around the world. It's crazy. You meet these friends that last a lifetime, and they're literally all over the world. On top of that, the coaching there is unbelievable. They really know what they're doing when it comes to progressing you as a student athlete. And definitely, I would say the hardest part about leaving Northgate was probably just leaving my family. Obviously, I'm going across the country, trying to chase my dreams, and not having your family there is also hard. But then also, I would say just jumping into a college atmosphere a year early is also very tough. Them throwing you with living at a dorm, going get your own food, going to school on your own, training, everything's on you. So that's also very hard, I would say.
How did IMG take you to the next level on the track?
Man, the way they trained me was unbelievable. It was so hard. It was probably the hardest training I ever had to do in my life. 3-mile runs in the hot Florida heat in mid-August to tense weightlifting all the way up and through the indoor season. The coaches there really know what they're doing. They're all former Olympians or trained Olympians in the past. They're very IQ is very off the charts. They teach me everything from how to use the blocks. I remember I didn't have really good coaching back at Northgate, so they basically taught me how to use a block for the first time, how to run again. My form wasn't as good as what I thought it was, but they basically completely transformed how I was before I went to IMG to after. I could say I'm a completely different athlete.
Well, I gotta ask, is IMG worth all the hype of preparing student athletes for the next level?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the proof's in the pudding, man. You see all these IMG alumni come out into the NFL draft. You saw like 8 of them get drafted. All of the people there take advantage. They're all really serious about their craft, even the students. So it just makes this mentality of just wanting to do better every single day. And it's just the proof in the pudding, man. All of the athletes there go to some sort of school for athletics, even though it may not be D1 like they market it as. Everyone still goes to a school, either Division I, Division II, or Division III, which I still think is crazy. They care about their students. They care about everything about their mental problems, everything. They really care about their students and will do anything in their power to make you succeed.
You had offers from D3 all the way up to D1. Why did you decide to compete at University of Iowa?
So my recruiting really took off my senior year. So I would say it was very chaotic because the way track scholarships work is usually by this late, like your senior year, most of the class of 2020 is already signed. So it was very nerve-wracking not having any, because I wanted to go D1. I made the decision to go to track because I knew I can go D1. If I would have not stopped that, I would have still played football probably. But I knew I was going to be able to go D1. I just needed some times. And my third indoor race of the year in the 60, I dropped the third best time in the country for the 60 meter. And that's when everything kind of started coming together. San Jose State was the first school, and everything else kind of just piled onto each other. But I picked Iowa because right when I landed there, it felt like home. I didn't think this school in the middle of nowhere would be my home because it's literally in the middle of nowhere. But I loved everything about it. A lot of their athletes come from California, which is very cool to see. Their coaches are very nice, very cool. Their program's very historic, very good program for track. And I just felt like it was the right fit. They had my major also as well. And it just felt right. I knew deep down in my heart that no matter what school was next, it wasn't it. It had to be perfect. From the mascot to the colors to everything. It had to be perfect. And I just knew right from then I was going to be a Hawkeye.
Well, what events will you be competing there, and what are your freshman goals when you compete?
So I'll probably stick to the 1 and the 2 and probably the 4x1. I don't see myself moving to the 4x4 like I did in high school, just because I know they signed a lot of 400 runners, very long distance sprinters. That's what Iowa mostly is. They like to do 200, 400 guys. So wanted me to bring me in for short sprints. So I know that's what people are doing. My goals, I would say, is probably to PR in the 100, just because I haven't done that in 2 years, just because obviously the situation we're in obviously sucked. But the PR in the 100 definitely be a big one. Probably to not win conference as a freshman, just because I know how hard the Big Ten is. It's a very good conference. But I would say make conference and do fairly well, score some points for us in conference. And then for the 4x1 is go to nationals.
Okay, well, you're back in Cali now due to these times. How have you been able to stay in shape, and are any of your coaches giving you workout plans during this time?
Yeah, my coach back in Florida, Coach Dwight, he's still training me to this day. We have phone calls almost every day and tell me what to do. But I still find ways to get on the track. Freedom's still open, so I just go there and train at least 3 times a week. doing the workouts Coach Dwight gives me. So I don't feel like I've gone far behind when it comes to my athletic ability. My conditioning, definitely. But if anything, I've just lost weightlifting, but it's not that big of a deal. Definitely since the season's probably over, just to stay in shape until I go to Iowa. But yeah, I've stayed in shape, I would say, definitely.
By the time you graduate from Iowa, what is your goal when it comes to on and off the track?
On the track, I still think my mission has always been the Olympics, as you know. Definitely with the Olympics being pushed back a year, that kind of helps me and my goals to try to even push even harder for my freshman year to go to the Olympics, to run for Mexico, like what I want to do. Um, but off the track, I would definitely say I want to be graduate with my undergrad's degree for science and then go to probably Iowa State and become a veterinarian, like my long herd dream has to been. And if God lets me, man, I would like to go pro in track my 4 years.
Well, final question. Do you have any message for the people who have supported you to where you are today, or any other final messages?
I would say to the people, like, obviously, I played football. Everyone's going to say I was too small to go D1. All I was going to say is just keep pushing forward, keep working hard. You could happen to anyone. Anyone can go D1 if you really put your mind to it. It's not crazy to think that you can't. To everyone that supported me, it's been an incredible ride. Thank you to all the people that has, my parents definitely to send me to IMG, my close family members to always check up on me, and my friends, my close ones ever since I played football since I was 5 years old, man. You guys have really been there for me when I've gone through my worst moments in my life, and I thank you guys so much.
Awesome. I got to thank you for your time, Austin, and good luck to your college career. And I can't wait to see a gold medal around your neck.
Thank you. Thank you.